So, recently, I've rewatched the original trilogy of Star Wars. And it was. Well, I didn't just rewatch it, I rewatched it for the first time in like a long time. And it was a very interesting experience. I used to watch this movie all the time when I was younger, but like at one point I just sort of stopped, and for many years I didn't really watch movies at all for a long time. So yeah, I went back to it. I revisited it. Now, back in the day, whenever I watched it, my least favorite was A New Hope because it was the first one, and my most favorite was Return of the Jedi since it was, the big climactic finish, and it had Boba Fett, and it had the Sarlacc pit and all that stuff. But watching it again now, my opinion is pretty much the opposite. I liked the way A New Hope set things up, and I thought the Return of the Jedi was kind of disappointing. My opinion on Empire Strikes Back is pretty much the same. It's the second one, the middle one, so yeah. Also, whenever I watched Empire Strikes Back, it was in Spanish most of the time, and every time the Empire was on screen, it would switch to German, so there were subtitles, but it was still kind of hard to follow along, but not that hard because there were subtitles. So I don't know if that influenced my opinion on it or not, but whatever. Don't ask why the language kept changing. Just don't. But yeah, everyone always talks about how Boba Fett is their favorite, when really, in the Return of the Jedi, he kind of sucks. He just shows up, gets beat up, and then falls in the Sarlacc pit and dies. And even the whole Sarlacc pit scene, my favorite as a kid, but like, it was the special effects at that part did not age very well. And the fact that the finale, the final battle, takes place on a planet with a bunch of small bear people made things feel less climactic. An interesting piece of trivia, actually, is how the reason why they made Admiral Akbar so ugly is because they wanted to teach kids ugly wasn't bad. So yeah, I respect that. Also, was Boba Fett in A New Hope? I don't think he was, but whenever I watched it, there was like a scene that he was in, and like he cameoed in it, and also Jabba was there, and instead of being a puppet, he was this big gross CGI glob. I think that scene was added in because I remember how Boba Fett was supposed to like be introduced in the Christmas special, which was between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. So, like, yeah, why did they edit him into the movie again? And also, they edited out like all his lines of dialogue and then replaced it with like the new the Boba Fett actor voicing it, so they essentially just erased all the work the original guy did. That's kind of messed up. You didn't have to do that. And it was also really cool seeing how like the slightest line of dialogue or the slightest detail became this huge iconic thing, part of this huge culture. Like, how did this one movie become this big thing around the world? Well, I'll tell you how. Because Star Wars went the extra mile. They had the 3-movie trilogy, they had all the special effects, they had all of the props, they had all the costuming, everything. They did everything. And that's also probably why the Marvel movies now are so popular, because they also went the extra mile. Instead of having one trilogy, they had multiple ones, all connected with 10 years of build up towards this big 5-hour long 2-parter. And you might be thinking, how, if that's as big as it gets, how am I supposed to top that? Well, easy. You gotta, how do you like, well, easy. You gotta break the tropes. Like Invincible was really popular, but it was a TV show. not a live-action movie trilogy. But if it was, then it probably would have been really, like, bigger than it was. I really like Invincible. I think, because, like, storyline does feel a lot like a comic book story. Like, every adult cartoon nowadays is always just focused on comedy, and let's all admit it, most of them aren't very good at it. So, like, we need more plot-based, serious adult cartoons. Anyway, what was I talking about again? All right, Star Wars. Yeah, Star Wars. The new movies, they bad. Yay, they bad. It's everyone's opinion on the new movies that they're bad. Oh, and also McClunky. Greedo says McClunky. He said the thing. He said McClunky. I'm gonna wait till this hits 55 so I can click out. Okay, bye.